obviously, for many reasons, is important.
About 3 weeks ago, I went to Tamashi with my wife, and we got down on gyoza and some of their garlic fried rice, and then just a couple of bowls of tonkatsu. It's just simple, and it was kind of nasty outside, and so it was the perfect meal, and it wasn't that expensive, and it was super delicious. On top of it with Sapporo, of course.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Then you feel the sodium inside it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went home and went straight to bed.
The food coma is the best.
Yeah. True.
I have a great meal that I'm looking forward to that I get about once a year when I travel outside of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So there's last night I had a fantastic filet at Paseo Grill. It had been a while since I had dinner there. But one of my favorite meals is the pork carnitas at a restaurant called Costera in San Diego, just out onto the water. It's just super experiential. You're literally out on the water with no surroundings. Their partition walls are clear glass, and the food's great. So I'll go out there for Christmas, and that's sort of one of my traditions is get the hell out of Dodge for Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I was in Houston a couple weeks ago and had a really good Italian meal. I feel like we're kind of lacking in good Italian here. Is that just me?
Nope.
No.
You are right. You are right. No, she's 100% right.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
right.
We are
Okay.
totally-
This is
I went to
more
Olive Garden last week.
modern Italian. It's a place called Cultivar, not like the one here. It's spelled differently. Really good pizzas, really good cacio e pepe, meatballs, had a stuffed mushroom, bottle of wine. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that bottle of wine inside.
But it's really good.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear you guys are all having good meals. So let's talk about digital marketing in the hospitality industry. Why do you guys think it's important?
I mean, that's where we all communicate
On a daily basis.
on a daily basis. That's we're glued to our phones, we're glued to our computers, we're checking our email at all times.
Right.
If you don't have a digital marketing presence, if you're not at least trying, you're doing it wrong. And that doesn't just mean social, you have to do other things too.
I feel like me personally and most people, whenever you kind of the way we go out to eat now, it's oh, hey, we're going to this restaurant. It's immediate. Check Google, check Yelp, check their Facebook. I'm looking at what their menu looks like. I'm looking at the pictures. I'm checking Yelp while I'm sitting at the table, comparing it to what's on the menu. So having that presence for your customers is always kind of important, just to have that place where they can go and get to know you really quick before they even have that experience.
It almost feels a little bit old-fashioned to not look at the menu before you get there.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
I also think, it comes back to the point too that everyone, the hospitality industry in particular is very unique in the fact that people are constantly wanting to give you feedback. They're wanting to tell people this meal sucked or something was really incredible. Hospitality inspires people to talk about their experience because it's about the experience, not just the food, and so that's what people want to talk about. And luckily, if you're smart with your digital marketing in your restaurant or your restaurant group, you're aggregating those reviews on a daily basis, and you're not only spotting things that can go wrong that you can improve, but if you're spotting trends, if you can notice trends, like steaks being undercooked, for example, you can go and talk to your back of house people and make that change, and your food cost gets lowered, and it just compounds on itself.
Well, what do you think the most valuable thing for hotels and restaurants in the digital space is? Facebook, Yelp, Twitter, Instagram. What tool? What digital tool?
As a tool, we find really great returns on Instagram right now. Instagram and Instagram stories. It's also one of the easiest to capture other people's experiences and reshare them in your story. So we're screen grabbing people's posts on Instagram and resharing them in our Instagram feed. They're getting tagged, and that I think gives people a feeling of notoriety or some sort of second of celebrity status, that I'm noticed by somebody else, and they're posting my information too. But also in searching those hashtags and the way that people are posting is another way that we can capture and aggregate that information. So we don't always have to wait for them to post a review, but we're also all actively following and searching those hashtags that include our restaurant name or items that we sell a ton of.
And it's really exciting when you get reposted by a restaurant. You're like, oh my god, even though it costs the restaurant's marketing team nothing to do that, just to repost it.
People are so good at taking photos and posting on Instagram too. It's like, why not share this amazing photo? It's probably better than what I could do.
Yeah.
And people love it. And even just like seeing like, oh, I saw that so-and-so reposted your photo. Like other people see it too and they might know that person. And so it kind of creates a little buzz. But I would agree with Instagram too. I think you can't not do Twitter and Facebook, but you have to do Instagram.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I feel like, the bread and butter right now of social media.
I think the most important tool that may be overlooked by quite a few people is the Facebook Pixel, mostly because
I don't even know what that is.
So what it is okay. All right, y'all, here we go.
Okay,
so
we're getting into it.
So if you have like a web developer, right, the guy who builds your website, the guy or girl who builds your website, what you're going to do is you're going to go onto Facebook Business Manager, you're going to go to your pixel, you're going to create it, and you can actually send them instructions to install just a little piece of code onto your website. So why do we want to do that? Well, what happens is it starts tagging every single page of your website, and then when people visit those pages, it captures that information and sends it back to Facebook, so it can aggregate that data for you, not only for you to see like who's interacting with your page or the path that people are taking on your page, but you can also use that information that they're giving you to build audiences to advertise to on Facebook. So let's say you've got like thousands of people going to your gift cards page, but you don't really have a lot of people converting. They're leaving the website to go do something else, right? So that's like kind of a missed opportunity. Well, you've got your Facebook pixel firing, and you build an audience, and then you say you run like a $50 ad for 2 weeks about gift cards, and you're specifically targeting those people who were just at your gift card page but didn't make a purchase. That's the kind of thing that's the kind of thing that you can do with the Facebook pixel.
That's when people are like, oh, they're in my brain.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Really, but
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What tools, I guess, relating to, Instagram, Facebook, but maybe not those actual platforms, do you recommend for people that are doing a lot of hospitality marketing? So like, I guess, Hootsuite and...
Right.
Sprout is a really good tool as far as social media management and aggregation and stuff like that. It makes it really easy to understand and streamlines it. And for those of you who are like working with restaurant groups and things like that, and your boss wants to see reports about how your social's doing, Sprout makes it really easy to automate reports, so you can actually just print this thing out, and you can break it up by weeks or months, or even for the calendar year, just to see how everything did. You can get that data not just for organic Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but you can get it for ads too. So that's what I like.
How do you, I guess, organize the posts that you're posting for your restaurant or your restaurant clients or hospitality clients?
We work on a 30-day marketing calendar, and then we work on a quarterly marketing calendar.
Okay.
So we're meeting every month, once a month, looking ahead to the next 30 to 45 days, which for us, and these stores in particular, we have some sort of high holidays down here. We have First Friday, the Art Gallery Walk. We have some highlights where we know we'll have a lot of foot traffic. So we try to capture well on those. But we're always looking that far ahead, and then a quarter ahead to food holidays, national holidays, local events, and trying to create strategy around those things, both with photographs and then posts.
Yeah. So if it's like National French Fry Day or National Beer Day or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's smart.
Smart, very smart.
I was just saying, we work very in the moment.
I love it.
I have really big plans and ideas to be very organized, and I've tried things like Sprout and Hootsuite, and I kind of use Hootsuite a little bit and different tools like that, but I think a lot of social media really is in the moment, so I find sometimes when I try to plan too much, it ends up backfiring, because it's lots of things like, the weather, like, oh, I want to promote this awesome soup we have today because it's freezing cold outside, or like very weather and seasonal kind of things. Definitely, I'm always looking ahead at like big holidays and events, and local events and things like that going on, or for our concepts down in Norman and in Stillwater, we're thinking about game days and things like that. But a lot of it is really kind of on the fly, and that's totally not the answer you want. But
I think that's important.
It just is what it is.
Yeah,
and also with restaurants, I mean, you know, I'll get a text and it's like, hey, we're running this special today. Can you come get a photo? It's like, oh, okay. And then we're posting it within 30 seconds. We're only selling it that night. You have to be really flexible to be able to work with just kind of a by the seat of your pants schedule too.
I think it's important because if you try to schedule it too much, I think that your audience can tell that it's ingenuine. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and we see overlap there with pre-scheduled posts, and then you end up deleting something that you've done advanced work on because now it doesn't apply.
Right.
I could see, like to Kent's point too. It's like I could see scheduling ahead and planning ahead with, you know, like Kent said, major holidays, and we're talking about the holidays that people love to go out to eat for. Right?
Yeah,
right.
So Valentine's Day and whatever other holidays people like to go out to eat for. Does Thanksgiving count? Like the day after Thanksgiving or something like that, or the day after Christmas? I don't know.
Counts around here.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
The night before Thanksgiving.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Things like that. Right. So there's something to be said for scheduling ahead sometimes, but I do like, you know, kind of being on your toes at all times because that it allows you to be reactionary and it allows you to get more involved with the people that want to be involved with you.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, when somebody posts a really good picture, you have that space that's freed up to be able to post it. Yeah, that's awesome. What can you do without a large marketing team or large budget? What effective things can you do for free?
Back to Instagram.
Nothing.
Back to Instagram. I think something that's not like so worrisome or such a miss nowadays is capturing your public pages, your public profiles on things like Yelp. Yelp.com and those where you can, so that you can capture them, then you can respond to reviews, you can post your own content, not leaving those things that are free game out there for only the public and your diners to run, but to get involved and really respond there.
I think it's important, if you don't really have a big budget, first, make sure your local SEO is on point. And what I mean by that is making sure you're claiming your restaurant and the information is correct on Google, making sure your Google My Business page is under, you have full control of that. You know, obviously restaurant review aggregation is very strong. Make sure that you're checking Yelp. Make sure you're checking, you know, Zomato. Is Zomato still around?
I don't know if it's there, but it's not.
No one cares about that one.
Enough TripAdvisor, probably.
And one thing that I found that is kind of cool to do, I mean, with social media, is if you don't have a budget to pay someone to do it for you, hand it to an employee on the restaurant level, not the manager. Hand it to an actual employee, like a bartender, or one of the servers that's been there for a while, who you notice like maybe their personal social presence, they really enjoy doing it. Empower your employees to kind of tell the story of your restaurant because it feels a lot more genuine coming from their eyes versus maybe a manager. It's like, all right, cool, got to take this picture. Yeah. Cool, I'm done. Because when you empower employees and maybe just like pay them more to do this job, that is, you know, it gets them involved and it kind of instills that loyalty in the employee, right? And so that way you're showing them that you trust them and you believe in them and you want them to be learning more and you want them to have a bigger role in what they're doing. And so they take some pride in it, and I think it can really show in restaurants if they do it right.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be that social media was free, and so that kind of goes that question, but it's not necessarily free anymore. But a lot of it is still free, so if you can just have a good, consistent presence on social media, the free parts of it, and I think that's really important.
I've heard a metaphor that social media is like a puppy. So like the puppy's free, but you still gotta pay for the food and the training and all that kind of stuff. So you guys mentioned the Yelp reviews, Facebook reviews. How do you handle getting a bad one? Like a terrible 1-star, this restaurant's the worst restaurant I've ever been to, I had a horrible hotel stay. How do you handle that kind of thing?
I like to comment on that because our new store also had a negative 1-star Yelp review before we were open.
Oh.
And the review was something like, the woman inside wouldn't unlock the door for me. It was, you know, it was a new manager. We're just loading into the restaurant. We're not open for business. But, you know, that person still felt that way. And perception is reality. So they felt like nobody would let them into the restaurant they wanted to eat at. And that's their reality, and they're going to tell the world. So just responding in the most cool, calm, and collected manner, never responding at night, and
Yeah.
let it simmer. It's okay, it simmers a moment. You have to come back
24 hours.
24 hours. And also, a goal of ours is, even if it's not the same person, in every restaurant, if you have a few restaurants or a few stores, but that the same person is responding as often as possible. So just like in your posts, that you want the voice to be the same, you want continuity in content and in sort of that vocal strategy, we want the same in the response in our reviews, whether negative or positive. And we always invite them back. If they feel like it was a miss, then we just say that. Obviously, you feel like it was a miss, and that's not okay for us. So we want to invite you back to show you, how we intend to serve people.
Yeah, I think, always, give it 24 hours. Sometimes maybe it doesn't necessarily deserve a response, but a lot of times it does. The guest is typically always right, and it's okay to point out maybe how you were right also, but make sure that you do it in a nice way. Recognize that you are glad that they gave you feedback. Recognize the situation, how you could be better. If they are misjudging something, it's okay, I think, to nicely let them know that. And then, invite them back. It's okay to give them a free appetizer if that's going to appease them. Little things like that, just to make sure that they're happy, and giving a good word out for you on the street is always important.
I definitely agree with both of you, and also I think restaurant reviews are interesting, and I think maybe I look at them a different way because I see it as an opportunity in disguise, because maybe we should change our thinking about it. Instead of sweating and being like, oh man, this person wrote a crappy review, like now I have to respond to them. Maybe it's like, oh man, this person had a bad experience. Awesome. Now I get to talk to them and figure out why they did it. I can not only fix the problem with them, but fix the problem in the restaurant. And then that way we have a chance to make that first-time guest who had a terrible experience into a lifelong fan and an advocate and an ambassador for the brand later on down the road, because those are the type of people, once you save them, they're going to come back and they're going to bring their friends, and then they're going to be like buddies with you at the bar, every single week, not every single week, but they're going to be coming in more frequently because they trust you.
And like you said too, it's a good way to just get that real feedback. I mean, sometimes you'll have a guest come in and they'll be talking to their server, and the server is asking how their experience was, and they're like, oh, it's good, but they're actually sitting there telling them how they hate it. But then people love to have a voice, so then if they go and say it, that's a way to get that feedback and make those changes to be better.
People love to feel cared about as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's just like a human thing. Well, that's awesome, you guys. So what is something, going back to like the marketing side of things, what is something that's really worked for you in the digital space that has garnered a lot of results, a lot of visitors, or a lot of buzz, something that you're like, okay, this is my little trick? I mean, you don't have to tell your like best little trick, but like something, a tip maybe.
I mean, a lot of mine is from the advertising side, so with Facebook and Instagram. One thing that has worked for me was with a national chain that we managed locally. We had a little contest that was, it was during football season, and we were like, hey, show us your most awful, like terrible, like poor looking, like awful tailgate, right? Like the worst tailgate food you can imagine, like a bag of buns and like some really awful, like undercooked hot dogs. And whoever has the worst one, we're gonna come out and kick your tailgate. And and so we got like, I think close to 100 responses of pictures of just the worst stuff you could have ever seen in your life. And we picked one and we went out and did their tailgate for them, and it ended up being a lot of fun. And they were stoked, and they still talk to us on Twitter like this day. So it was great for us. And then so we took that, the engagement that we got from it on like Facebook and Instagram, people who were engaging with those posts, we turned that engagement into a custom audience that we were then able to retarget on Facebook and Instagram with ads leading to catering signups. So it totally worked out.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. You guys have anything?
I guess I would just say, I mean, kind of like for any product or business or anything, engaging with your customers on social media, I think it's really fun to respond and talk with them and comment on their photos and repost their photos, and it feels like the restaurant is more of a human and gives like a human perspective to the restaurant, and not like it's just a place that you go and eat. I think that people always kind of like to feel like people care about them. Yeah, like that we care about them and that we're communicating with them and care about what they think. And
even just sending, like, on Instagram stories, even just sending the little heart back. It's like, oh, they gave me a heart.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did you see that they liked my picture?
Yeah. I'm worthy. How do you think companies are missing the mark with digital marketing in the industry? What are they doing wrong?
What are we doing wrong?
Yeah, or maybe you could be like, what can I improve on?
The one big thing that I've noticed is, so doing some research before we did this, I went to every single restaurant and restaurant group's website that I could possibly think of, just to check it out and check out the experience. Of those websites, only 2 of them were HTTPS secure.
I actually received an email from Kellen about this.
I was like, an out for you.
Hey, Ken, dude, just like heads up. Which to me it wasn't cool, because what that says to me is the web developers who are doing the work for the restaurants and the restaurant groups aren't doing their due diligence, and they're ripping you guys off, because your websites need to be secure, because every time someone comes to your website, that puts your guests' security at risk. It puts their personal information at risk, and that's maybe why you haven't seen people signing up for the email list, is because when they put that stuff in that box and hit send, they don't know if you're actually going to get it, or if it's going to be, if they're going to be the victim of a cyber attack. And most cyber attacks, guys, they happen to small businesses.
And Google penalizes.
Yeah, and Google will penalize you, so you'll be further and further and further and further down in the rankings. So it's really important to get your web people up to speed and make sure your website is secure, and to make sure your website is SEO optimized too.
Especially if you're hiring out, those people should know.
They should know, but they're being lazy and they're taking your money. Please do not let lazy web developers take your money.
Yeah.
There's tons of good web developers out there, and you should not let the bad ones take your money. Don't.
We need to talk after this.
Give us. Annie's like, oh my god. Give us an example of a restaurant group that you think is doing it correctly. That you're like, oh, I really like the content that they're putting out. I like how they're targeting. One that's not your own.
The social order.
Humankind Hospitality.
We did it.
Yeah, I love the social media. I love the social media from the Judge Assembly in particular. I mean, they have a lot of fun
That's
content.
the best.
They have a lot of fun content at their fingertips because of the hard work they do in booking and with their shows and as a live performance venue. So that organically creates an amount of work that you can work from. But I think the Judge Assembly is altogether. I think their social media looks awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice work.
Good job, Annie.
I mean, I feel like everyone could probably agree that a good egg is kind of the OG of Oklahoma City. I think they do an awesome job. It's really consistent. I know it's their restaurants. I think they just do a good, well-rounded job. Not a restaurant group. I think that Hall's Pizza Kitchen does a really good job on digital. They have a really solid brand, and when I see a post, I always know it's theirs. It's a really consistent language. Sometimes the language doesn't change it up that much, but it's like I always know it's theirs. I think they do a really good job. I think Capital's Ice Cream does a really good job.
They do awesome.
Even just the way that they repost every single time someone tags them in an Instagram story, they just always are putting up that content, so their Instagram story is always full of things, and you're like, oh my god, all these people were there. Well, I need to be there.
Of course.
Which it sometimes doesn't look the best, but it just creates this FOMO that you aren't there because everyone else in Oklahoma City is.
I really like the Pumps pictures. Yeah. I think they do a really good job on capturing all of their weekly drink specials, and their food is insane looking.
That's one of the most underrated kitchens in the city.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, so their food is insane looking. They pair it with a very colorful beer or cocktail, and I think it just makes you, oh, I want to go get that. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
I think Goro does an incredible job too.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, everything's just so damn delicious. Everything that they post. And I might not even know what it is half the time. It was
I'll go get that.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of it, right? Is to look at the picture and be like, I need to go get that now.
Exactly. And another bar that I really like to follow is Bar Arbolada.
Oh, yeah.
They do a great job, and they take a really fun and jovial, stance in their Instagram in particular. They post, down from under the table.
Yeah, they're pretty funny on their
outfit
stories.
Yeah, they post things that you wouldn't find me posting, but I'm more serious, but I'm not as fun as them.
Yeah.
So, but they have found their angle sort of, and so I know it's going to be fun if I'm watching their story or looking at their page. And it's still informational. I think they do a good job with their content too. I know what's going on there, and they bring specials, but theirs I think is really fun. So I think that's part of finding your voice is are we serious? Are we fun? Are we really young? Do we feel really old?
Yeah.
And I think they nail it.
That period of self-discovery in a restaurant is really important too, because it makes you very self-aware, and because people can tell when you're trying to be someone that you're not. It's obvious. And so when restaurants go through periods like that to really find themselves, I think it's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. So tell us how people can support you and what's coming up in 2019.
Yeah, so for the social order, we have a new restaurant concept coming in 2019. We were excited to be selected for the restaurant operators for the new restaurant in the Scissortail Park, the new park that's being built downtown. It'll be a casual kind of burger, sandwiches, salads, ice cream, milkshakes, sort of fun park food style place. So that'll be coming up. We'll be opening our 7th Fuzzies in Oklahoma sometime in 2019, so that's exciting. You can follow us on Instagram at Social Order Dining Collective, and then we have multiple accounts for the Jones, 747 Textelfia, Fuzzies OKLA, Fuzzies Norman, Fuzzies Stillwater. So follow us there.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Right now, get your phones out.
Yeah. Everybody, get your phones out, please.
KELLN World Peace. And in 2019, more great stuff with BigWing Agency and more lifts like this. And if you own a restaurant and you are unsure about where your marketing needs to go, message me on Twitter or Instagram. My door is always open. The restaurant world raised me, and I'm very proud to have a background in it. So if you do need help, please don't hesitate to come ask me.
Awesome. For us, the next up is here in the Paseo. So Frida Southwest, we have the beautiful American Southwest Chop House. We mentioned it has 3 beautiful patios on it. It has a hidden bar in it, also called the Daily.
Ooh, I love a hidden bar.
Like 18 seats, Scotch and whiskey bar, hidden door from the outside.
Now you guys all know.
Yeah. So the secret's out, but don't tell.
Hot tips.
So you guys being here is great. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us today. BigWing as well. So thank you for allowing us to host.
Do we want to do questions?
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
So my work right now, when we open a store, and I think that's similar for a lot of us, when we open a store, I'll spend 70 hours a week in the store. So for me, I don't feel like there's a large disconnect, and then I spend a lot of time with the people who do work in our social media, and some of that is me. Mostly, my work is responding to Facebook messages in particular, because I'm in the restaurant enough that I feel like I have that voice and I have an idea and quick access to the actual experience on the back end, through the point of sale system or through those managers. So I'm not very good at answering that question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I definitely work more in our office than in the restaurants, but it is taking the time to go and be in all of our restaurants to see kind of how people are feeling and acting and when they're there and kind of knowing what's going on, but also just being an open ear for managers to always come to me and kind of say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we need to be posting, not just thinking that I always know the right away. Always getting word from them on what needs to be done, what needs to be shown and posted, and I always take that with open arms.
I think what I like to do is develop relationships on the restaurant level with the people who are on the floor behind the line every single day. Since I can't be, since I'm in an office, I like to develop relationships with those people, and so that way I can sort of not only get the feedback from them and relay messages, but also kind of train them and potentially give them a new skill that can help them out like later on. I really like that because it, not only am I learning something from them every day because I'm learning the ins and outs of their restaurant and I'm learning how certain things work for them, but I can also teach them, you know, some social media and reputation management best practices. So really it's like developing a relationship with somebody on the restaurant level that I can communicate with openly and honestly.
That's awesome.
And what is your work? What is your work in
we all work for Will Smith Restaurants.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi guys.
We're glad we're glad you're here.
Yeah, we're the marketing team.
Awesome. Well, and so also for me, because I work in all of our stores at some level, when we go to those marketing meetings, I tell those marketers that that's their meeting. So they're coming to report to me and to ask things of me and to tell me what they need or what they're about to do, rather than me going to them and saying, I think we need to be posting this, or I think we're looking for this content, or are you capturing this information. I really put that onus back on them to tell me what they think we need.
Well, thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, like strategies or tips for trying to speak to someone who is out of your market, maybe a tourist or out of Oklahoma City. How do they find out about your restaurant, where they need to go, their destination, they're planning a staycation, maybe someone from Tulsa coming in, like something like that?
It's a great question.
I think not with organic content, but you know, well, I mean, with a combination of organic content, making sure that maybe you have some ads running, just not brand awareness ads, but are you doing the best that you possibly can to put content on your website to entice people to your website to learn about the experiences that your restaurant offers, right? Maybe you could shoot a video and clip it between like 30 seconds and a minute and start basically targeting the areas around, say, Oklahoma City, for example, that you know people are going to travel in from, like maybe Tulsa, maybe Dallas, or something like that, and you can actually target the ads in there. You can even target by zip code if you want, and you can actually build ads based on video engagement. I found that that's really successful for me as well. So what you can do, let's say you cut that video to be a minute long, and you're shooting it with the intention of, you know, bringing people in who are tourists or coming in like that, and you can build an audience based on whether people watched 50% of the video or 100% of the video, using the Facebook pixel. And so what you do then is you sort of gather that data. Once they've watched the video, then you serve them an ad that says, you know, either come to the website or you know, book with us through, you know, Resi or OpenTable.
We've tried to build pretty good relationships with things like Edible OKC, Visit OKC, Territory, kind of those like 4 or 5 magazines, those local magazines or social media accounts, or like Visit OKC does conventions and bureau and everything. And having those good relationships, they have helped us a lot in promoting us, because I feel like a lot of times when people are coming from out of town, they look for those sort of accounts or websites, things like that. And so if we have a presence with them, we hope that they then see us through there. Because it's hard to reach people being one little restaurant, but I know like when I travel, I will do, you know, best 10 restaurants and so. So if you kind of have that niche with those people who are putting those kind of articles and content out, then that's a good way to do it.
Anyone else? No?
Kellen, do you have a question?
Man. You know, I always like to ask the what's next question, because nothing is more fun than finding out what concepts are coming next. Okay, so we talked about like your favorite meal. You know, whether it's here or abroad, but I talked about this with someone today. What is your favorite side dish at any Oklahoma City restaurant? Favorite side? Ever. Oklahoma City specifically. What's legendary?
Ooh. I love the squash Rockefeller from Hefner Grill. That's like something that isn't anywhere else.
Yeah. Just strictly, yeah, I mean, I've never heard of it before.
It's like a squash. Can you tell me what it is? It's like a squash casserole.
Hell yeah, it pretty much is just like a squash.
She said it's like a squash.
Like crumbled, like bread and cream.
And yeah, it's got breadcrumbs on top of it, and it's just
It's got a little crunch to it.
got a little crunch, got a little creaminess, and it's just something you never like. I don't know where else you can get it.
I don't know the exact ingredient.
I would say for me, right here in OKC, it's the green chili mac at Red Prime Steak.
That was gonna be mine!
Get another one.
I do have a second one. It's corn pudding at Iron Star.
Yeah.
Everyone go to Iron Star every Tuesday. They do brisket soft tacos. Take the brisket out, sub it with turkey. You put the creme fraiche in, order corn pudding as a side, put that in the taco.
You guys take notes on that.
Everybody get that? It's the most incredible meal on the planet. Yeah, I've been eating it for 7 years. So.
My second one was going to be the Iron Star mac and cheese.
Yeah, really good.
It's pretty good.
Especially with barbecue
The
sauce.
sweet potatoes at Iron Star too.
I got another question.
Oh.
Sorry.
So, have you guys had experience? I know that it's really fun, like launching new restaurants. It's easy to get the buzz. We got something new. Follow. What about a restaurant that's like 10 years old? That's like kind of getting like slammed by all the new things that maybe is late on a social media kick. Like, have you guys worked with something like before? Of like, how do we get energy back into the?
We currently we're putting in more effort in one of our older concepts in Norman. 747, I'll just say it. It is a grungy college bar, and we have gone through identity crises a little bit, trying to be something that we're not, and we've just kind of realized, like, we are a college bar that serves beer on game day and like late night shots. And so we're still working on it, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I think our social media maybe needs to go slightly in another direction, where it's just preaching to these kids who are there late, being kind of sloppy, and like, just have that fun, interactive social media that is making fun of ourselves and what we are, because that's just kind of the place it is. So I'm not saying that we're there yet, but we've kind of recognized that, and we're trying to sort of appeal more in that sense, because we are getting old and looked over a little bit. And so just trying to stay relevant and move with how our customers are kind of moving us is kind of what we're trying to do, is sort of go with what our customers are putting on us, I guess.
I believe it is earnest investment in the concept through associated effort of everyone involved. So that goes from the very top, the owner of the restaurant, right down to the waiter. The owner can't set it and forget it. And he has to inspire his employees to get involved with it. It's just like I said earlier, it's like maybe you don't have a lot of budget, and maybe you've been burned in the past. What you need to do is you need to pay that one employee who is loyal to you just a little bit more, and you need to get them involved in social media. Maybe you send them to a class to learn how to make email marketing drip campaign, something like that. Getting people that work there excited about it so they are willing to show it off for you. Employee advocacy in restaurants and any place you work in general speaks volumes, because everyone wants to go where everyone's having a good time.
Where everybody knows your name.
Yep.
We had a similar opportunity, I think, to what you're describing at Picasso Cafe. There's lots of novelty going on here in the Passaic Arts District, which is great, and some of that we're creating for ourselves, but you can also sort of self-cannibalize lunch business, for example. So not officially a high holiday, it's not 10 years, but we were having our 9th birthday next door at Picasso Cafe, so we decided, they were like, oh yeah, and then we'll be 9 years old next month. Okay, next order of business, at a partners meeting, and we said, well, let's capitalize on that. Let's spread the word. Let's celebrate that, and not for $0, but for not a ton of money, we can hand out a balloon, in our company colors to every kid that comes through the door for a week. We'll do a birthday week. And don't get too inside your head about it, because then one of the partners said, but our birthday's on Tuesday. That's not a good day to celebrate. I'm like, nobody knows our birthday's on Tuesday. Nobody even knows it's our birthday year, so we can say it's our birthday at whatever moment we want to and celebrate. So we did that with balloons, with cookies, and then like $9 bottles of wine, just repeating and reiterating the 9 over and over. And we did a little bit of digital paid promotions on that, and some posters around the restaurant. So that's one way that we did that with a very similar issue, I think.
You want to know who does like birthdays right as well? Is look at what Eskimo Joe's does every year for their birthday. It's wild. Like, people go crazy for it for some reason. Yeah, it's
T-shirt.
No, I mean, it's like a whole week. Have you seen the Wheel of Beer?
No.
They have this thing that's like the Price is Right deal, where you spin it, and it could land on the thing that's like in effect for, I think it's like half an hour or an hour or something like that. So you spin the wheel, and you spin it like once every 30 minutes or an hour, and it could land on like $100 pitchers. And then so for 30 minutes, pitchers are $100. And then there's also a space called Free Keg, and so lands on a free keg. You just go up to the bar and you're like, yeah, I want a free keg beer.
That's awesome.
Okay, great. And like, it didn't really take a lot of investment, but it was a really clever idea, and it's been there since. I mean, I've been in college, which is way long ago.
They're going on like 50 something.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
test time.
That
Yeah.
actually happens every Wednesday at Smudges now.
Christ.
I promise when you find a good thing.
Yeah, they're riding it. Yeah.
Lots of free
I promise not to go back. Probably.
Anyone else? Well, thank you guys. Wait, one more. Oh,
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm curious to know where you put emphasis on great content and great engagement, and then turning it into an ROI, into a customer and a repeat. Who puts that emphasis on you guys, from running the social media for the restaurant? Where do you connect it from? Great content, great engagement. We're getting all these people on our social teams. How do we get them to the restaurant and turn them into a customer?
Again, what I think it is that engagement is all well and good, but then you have to take the data that's been given to you by the customer who is visiting your website and engaging with you on social media. You need to turn them into custom audiences on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, since people are interacting with it, especially in the culinary scene, all the time, because, I mean, hashtag food porn, right? So you need to turn that into audiences that you can use for paid advertisements, and you need to be willing to invest at least a little bit in that to see what kind of returns you can get. And it's not just, trying to go for the reservation. It's also getting people to sign up for your email list, where maybe you can give coupons out, right? And it's also doing paid ads for gift cards. I found it really weird that I haven't had a single ad for a gift card from a restaurant yet. I thought that was really weird. But then it's like, I mean, it's because I love Chili's. Like, I'll get like a random, I'll just be walking the store and be like, oh yeah, I should get a Chili's gift card. When, like, in hindsight, like in January, I'll be like, I should have gotten like a Humankind gift card, or like a Social Order gift card, or a Good Egg gift card. Like, why didn't I think of that? It's because it's not top of mind. And I think it's important for groups to get top of mind.
I know we're speaking out of local, but one restaurant I think that does a really good job of that is Chick-fil-A in their app, because they'll send you a free sandwich or a free drink or a free whatever, and you go in and then you spend money still, so it's like getting that little treat. Yeah.